So we're kind of entitling this Perspective During Pandemic, and we all need perspective during this crisis, and there's no better place than to go to God's Word and have some biblical perspective or talk through some of that. On this podcast, we're going to talk about what I'm going to call kind of the front lines of COVID. Josie, you work in the ICU unit over there in Wisconsin. A bit of background, 3 boys, wife of a pastor.
Yeah, so I definitely was scared. In fact, I had friends outside of my nursing profession that were encouraging me to quit my job.
Oh.
There was some uneasiness and some fear, like, wow, what am I doing? Am I going to expose myself to this? But it really came down to me taking a look at Jesus's life and what would he do if he were me, asking that question and prayer. And I really felt a peace going in and knowing that I had an opportunity to be Jesus's hands and feet, and that he probably wouldn't quit his job as a nurse if he were me. He'd probably
really
go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And as far as bringing it home to my family, there was a point in time with Griffin as my youngest, who is vulnerable, which I know we'll talk about later, but there was a point in time where I had to decide, is this something that you're willing to do? And are you going to live out of fear, or are you going to follow the Spirit?
Proverbs 3:5-6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths."
And I had this moment where I was nursing him in his room, in his rocking chair, and I was wrestling with God, and I was angry with God, and I felt in my heart you say you're good, God. You're not good. This isn't good. And I can't even explain it. I can barely explain it, but it just was not an audible voice, but this flood of certainty. And I looked down, and he was asleep at the time, and I saw that line across his hand, the physical characteristic that affirmed his disability. And I felt in that moment, God said to me, "Josie, what if you're looking at this all wrong? You prayed for a life. You prayed for a beautiful baby, and this is what I've given you. And instead of looking at all his limitations, and possible risks that he has, instead, this is my gift to you, and you get to unwrap it every day."